Australia and Canada both seem like nice countries to me, but since I'm European and specifically from the Netherlands and I've never been to either one of those, I'm still learning about them. And so today I'm going to react to a comparison of the two countries to learn more about it. So let's see which one is better, Australia or Canada.
Australia, Canada. Two gigantic countries with low populations, incredible living standards, and friendly, welcoming people. Welcome back to the Geography Bible. I'm Sam, your narrator for the video. In this video, we'll be comparing two countries which are actually quite similar, but geographically are nowhere near each other. Then, once you've watched the video and dropped a like, of course, we will then ask you which one you'd rather live in and which one you would rather just visit, and why. We will compare their demographics, geography, economies, quality of life, and of course, we'll throw in some interesting facts along the way. So let's begin by looking at their key demographics, starting off with their populations. So out of the two, Canada is more populated, with around 37.7 million people, making them the 39th most populous nation on Earth, behind Poland and above Morocco. Fun fact, there are more people living in Greater Tokyo than there are in the entirety of Canada. Think about that. A city in the world has a higher population than the second biggest country on the planet.
That's crazy. I don't want to know how busy it is in Tokyo. That's honestly, like, I want to visit, but to live, I don't think I could do it. That's not for me. Like, I've been to New York, and while it exceeded my expectations, because to be honest, my expectations were quite low because I'm not really into that vibe, and I like peace and quiet more. Yeah, it still exceeded my expectations, but yeah, to live, it's not for me.
Wow. Australia is the 55th most populated country in the world, with roughly 25.5 million people, putting them above Niger and below North Korea. Now that we know their populations, let's look at their population densities. This one is incredibly close and mind-blowing. So with 3.92 people per kilometre squared, Canada is technically more densely populated, making them the 8th lowest densely populated country in the world. Then we have Australia, with 3 people per kilometre squared, making them the 5th lowest densely populated country in the world. Again, this next one is unbelievably close, their life expectancy at birth. So Australia just takes the win here at just under 84 years, followed by Canada at just under 83. This means that Australia has the 8th highest life expectancy in the world, and Canada is in 16th place. But are you ready for another?
It's kind of crazy that such a small difference still makes them 8 places behind the other.
The crazy fact, which actually counteracts the previous information. Which country in the world do you think has the highest cancer rates? I'll give you a clue. It's a country with lots of sun and generally quite a pale skin population. It is, of course, Australia. And then in 11th place, Canada. And finally, for demographics, let's look at the average age of the population. Now, a younger population is generally a better thing. This means a younger workforce and less of an aging population to hinder the economy and healthcare system. So Australia wins this one with an average age of 38.8 compared to Canada's 42.4. Oh.
Also not that far apart, I would say.
Right, let's now move on to their geography, starting off with their total land area. This section should be interesting because they are both gigantic. Being the
Yeah, it's just, I still can't comprehend how big they actually are. And then for the actual population density to not be that high, it's crazy. Now I know from the videos I've watched and reacted to last week, that 85% of Australians live within, what was it, 50 kilometers of the coastline. So, and yeah, a lot of it is just more or less inhabitable. That's wild for like how big it is.
second biggest country on Earth, only behind Russia, Canada has a staggering just under 9.1 million kilometers squared total land area, compared to Australia's 7.7 million, which makes them the 6th biggest country in the world.
Why did I expect Australia to be bigger than Canada though? I don't know, maybe it's the fact that it's so far away that makes it look even bigger or something, but I did not expect Canada to be bigger, honestly.
While Australia is an island, it is considered a continent, but it technically is the biggest island on Earth. For a visual comparison of these two countries, let's hop over to the true size of
Oh wait, yeah. I guess all of this is still Canada. I did not think about that. That makes sense.
where we can see the true size of these countries side by side. It is difficult to represent our three-dimensional world on a two-dimensional map. So this website allows us to see how big each country actually is in relation to each other. So by grabbing both of these countries and putting them on the equator, we can see their actual sizes side by side. So yes, Canada is obviously massive, but its proportions are incorrectly displayed on a traditional map. Let's now take a look at what percentage of these countries' landmass is covered in forests, and also how much coastline they have. With 16.2%, 39% of which is in Queensland, of the country being covered in forest, Australia has significantly less than Canada at 34%. So more than a third of Canada's total size is actually forests.
I also did not know that. So interesting.
Canada actually has the third most forest by area in the world, and Australia has the 6th. Okay, so before we reveal this one, out of the two, which one do you think has the most coastline? This country also has the most coastline out of any country on Earth. So if you said Australia, you're wrong, unfortunately. So it's
I was gonna say Australia.
202,000 kilometers. Canada has by far the most coastline in the world, followed by Australia, which is in 7th place with a measly 25.7k kilometers.
I don't know why, for some reason, Australia just sounds more exotic or something, and therefore, and because it's an island, you think it has more coastline and more forests, or at least that's what I thought. Or maybe just the stereotypes around Australia. But that's why it's so interesting to me to learn more about it and watch these videos, because you realize, no, that's actually not true. So crazy.
Now, to my surprise, Norway actually has the 2nd most coastline in the world. Alright, so let's move on to the economy and some financial statistics for these two countries. Again, this is another one which is neck and neck. The resemblance for these two countries is uncanny. So let's begin by looking at their total GDP. The GDP can be calculated by adding up all of the money spent by consumers, businesses, and government in a given period. So with 1.3 trillion US dollars, Australia has the 13th biggest economy in the world, which is actually very impressive considering their population is only 25.5 million. This puts them above Spain and below South Korea. Then, with 1.65 trillion, Canada is the 10th biggest economy in the world, behind Italy and above Russia. However, Canada's economy is actually growing faster at just over 3%, and Australia just under 2%. Now that we know their GDP, we can calculate their GDP per capita by dividing their total GDP by their population. Australia actually takes the win here, with around 55,000 US dollars per person, compared to Canada's 46,200. So the personal wealth of the average Aussie is around $9,000 more than the average Canadian. However, Australia is the 16th most expensive country to live in the world.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, isn't it more expensive than Canada? But yeah, I guess.
Compared to Canada, which is in 24th place. So this probably balances the two nations out. And to end the economy section, let's have a look at some quick fire statistics. Both of these countries have identical education expenditures at 5.3%. Inflation is higher in Australia at 2% compared to Canada's 1.6%, and Canada has the 8th most billionaires in the world with 44, compared to 31 in Australia, which puts them in 12th place. And finally, let's end this section by looking at the Big Mac Index. No, seriously, this is a genuine thing. So buying a Big Mac in Canada will burn a bigger hole in your pocket compared to the land down under at $5.29 and $4.98.
$5 for a Big Mac. That's crazy. Now, I do somewhere in Scandinavia, wasn't it even more expensive? Or like Switzerland or somewhere that I think it was like even $7 or something. But these are crazy prices for a Big Mac.
Respectively. And to end the video, let's finish off with some quality of life statistics and facts, an area which both of these countries excel in my opinion. When I think of Canada and Australia, I think of high wages, good education, and great living standards in general. Of course, they are both not perfect, and they do, of course, have poverty in certain areas. Let's start off by looking at a not so great statistic for these two countries, to which they are neck and neck, their obesity rates. They pretty much have the same percentage of their adult population classed as obese, at a roughly 29%. This comes to no surprise as both of these countries indulge in a 21st century Western diet.
I wonder what the US's obesity rate is then. Because this seems quite high, but it's all relative, I guess. So, yeah, I wonder what their rate is. If you know, then let me know in the comments below. And also what Europe's rate is in general.
And Aussies sure do love their meat, beer, and barbecues. Australia has more physicians and hospital beds per 1,000 people, with 3.8 and 3.59 respectively. When it comes to school life expectancy, Australia is ranked as the #1 in the world. The school life expectancy, or the SLE, is the total number of years of schooling, this is primary to tertiary, that a child can expect to receive. So with a staggering 23 years, Australia takes the win here. Canada sits in equal 7th place, with many other countries at 17 years, which is still very impressive. Australia just misses out on the top 10 happiest countries in the world in 12th place, which coincidentally sits behind Canada in 11th place.
Yeah, that score is actually very close. Very close.
When it comes to the Global Peace Index, Canada ranks as the 6th most peaceful country on Earth, compared to Australia in 13th place. However,
I wonder why. What makes it more peaceful? I wish you would have said that, but again, if you know, then let me know, because I'm really interested in that.
However, when it comes to corruption, Australia does make the top 10 compared to Canada, who are in 16th place. And finally, the last one, let's compare their military strength ranking. And to no surprise, these two countries are neck and neck again, with Australia having the 19th strongest military in the world compared to Canada, who are in 21st place. So now it's your turn. Let us know in the comments below which one you would live in and which one you would just visit and why. We can't wait to read your comments. And while you're there, let us know which cities or countries we should do next.
Yeah, to answer this myself, I feel like I still need to learn more about these places because they seem quite similar in some ways, but then in other ways they're not. For example, the climate, where Canada might overall be more cold and have stronger winters, and Australia doesn't. So I have not figured that out. So if you have and you have your opinion about that, let me know in the comments. I'm really interested in that as well. For now, I would say maybe it's difficult because Australia is so far on the outside like of the world, as it is not really close to anything. So I feel like if I would say to live there, I would really, really have to want to live there, and I don't know much about it yet. But it does seem really nice. Whereas Canada, it's more close to other things as well. So I would think that, yeah, that makes it easier. Also, if you want to visit family. But I haven't decided yet, so let me know your opinion in the comments below.